The Porsche Panamera. A brand new machine from one of the world's most famous car companies. The first four-door high-performance sports saloon Porsche has ever built.
Something very special. Driving a four-seated Porsche wasn't possible before.
The Panamera pushes the company into uncharted territory. Would people buy a radically different type of Porsche?
Being a small brand, launching a new car was, I would say, a big risk.
And it certainly is a big risk, investing over $200 million to expand a state-of-the-art factory.
It's the first time that a complete new factory is planned by Porsche.
One of the most modern car factories in the world.
Every second matters.
And they count every second, every day, in Porsche's new mega factory. When the Panamera made its debut in 2009, some lifelong Porsche fans absolutely hated it. For them, it isn't true to the company's classic sports car roots.
Some people just said for them it's not a Porsche.
The Panamera is a calculated risk to expand Porsche's customer base. The definition of what Porsche can be in the future.
What I would like to do is just to start with how you could say the story of the car started. For Porsche, we want to have a sports car, and the symbol for the sports car segment is still the coupe.
The Porsche 911 has been in production for more than 40 years.
With the 911, a car you really want to drive, and then you are asked to think about a new model that is not a derivative, that really goes into a new segment. The decision was taken to do a car that is, you could say, not expected.
The Panamera has very similar driving characteristics to the 911, but with 4 seats. So 4-seated sports car here with the genetic code of a Porsche 911.
The top-of-the-line Panamera blazes from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.8 seconds. Porsche's risk paid off. The Panamera is now the best-selling Porsche in the United States. But at the time, Porsche had never produced a 4-door sports car, so they expanded a state-of-the-art factory in Leipzig, Germany, to get it done.
We built on a typical day 120 Panameras.
The production, the manufacturing was optimized very well. The Leipzig plant helps us produce the Panamera.
The factory covers more than 46,000 square meters.
We are here in the logistics center of Porsche Leipzig, and per day approximately 150 to 160 trucks arrive here.
They bring more than 200,000 parts to the factory each day. Every part will be used in less than 24 hours. So it's vital that nothing gets lost.
Every piece has its place here, so you cannot lose any part. You find every part here because it's have a customized place here in the factory. We have a system, assembly system and the logistics system are connected via interface so that we have the material flow and the car flow and the assembly flow is just synchronized.
Parts arrive in cases specifically designed for the Porsche factory.
So here you are at a special case, you know, just customized for Porsche and for the steering wheels and the airbags. Someone pick this steering wheel and bring it direct from here to the line.
While the Leipzig factory is the key, it takes 3 different German factories to build the Panamera. They make and paint the bodies in Hanover and build the engines in Stuttgart.
We're in the Porsche engine assembly in Zuffenhausen. This is the heart.
This is the heart of the engine plant. Its logistics area, where they deliver parts 14 times a day. Workers follow computer printouts and lights to load the right parts into the right carts for the assembly line.
It's challenging to put the parts in the right place, in the right time, and for the engines. This means in 8 seconds the parts are leaving to the engine plant. Yellow thing is a driverless transporting system, and it's computer-based, and the transporting system has to take a route to the engine plant.
Each engine needs around 190 different parts, and a special card that holds all those parts for that one engine.
This is the V assembly, V6 assembly and V8 assembly.
Working 2 shifts a day, 300 workers build Panamera engines. There are 7 different engines. This variety is part of Porsche's business strategy. Panameras range in price from just over $75,000 to more than $173,000, primarily based on which engine you want. Engines range from the 300 horsepower V6 to the 550 horsepower turbocharged V8. The top of the range Panamera can hit 306 kilometers an hour.
This is the place where the engine is put on the first station.
There are 43 stations on the engine line.
Each step takes 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Customers paying good money expect engines built with great care and precision.
These are the turbochargers for Panamera Turbo, and this is the station where the turbochargers are assembled on the engine.
They use hand tools. And tools controlled by computer.
It's a smart tool, yes. And all of the torques and angles are saved on a computer.
Robots do the most critical work.
This is the station where the cylinder heads are assembled. And this is the robot station where it's assembled. The robots are special. For every engine we have special programs, and the robots pick the screwdrivers for the right engine. After 3.5 hours we have a fully finished racetrack ready engine.
The same automatic transporters that bring parts to the line meet the finished engines.
This cart is driving under the engine and picking it up. It's going to the shipping to Leipzig.
From the assembly line, and the transportation system carries the completed engine to here, to the shipping area, and from here we will send our engines by truck to Leipzig. To Leipzig it's about 4 hours, a 4-hour trip.
There, they'll meet up with the car bodies. But when the trucks arrive, the workers start counting the seconds.
Every 2 minutes and 20 seconds we unload the engine.
Engines specifically designed for the Panamera. Porsches have always been about performance. Even those with 4 doors. The Panamera is also about choice. Customers can choose from one of 7 different engines, 2 different transmissions, a rear-wheel drive car, or one where the engine powers all 4 wheels.
You can have fun on a racetrack if you want to, but you can also take that car to go on vacation.
All the mechanical pieces for the cars arrive at the same place in the factory. Major parts like engines and transmissions come off trucks in the exact order the factory plans to build the cars.
The engine comes with a truck in sequence.
It's like checking out at the supermarket, only faster.
The barcode is a check of the sequence. Is it okay? The engine can go into the line.
As soon as the parts are unloaded, their carriers go back into empty trucks. It's a highly efficient way to keep parts and trucks moving.
The full trailer, we put the engine and then the empty pallet go to the empty trailer. It's a circle every time.
There's just one assembly line for all 7 versions of the engine.
In this area of the plant, we build the engine and the transmission together.
Panameras come with a computer-controlled manual transmission. A transmission first developed on Porsche racing cars. It's a key part of making a saloon with the soul of a sports car. The transmission gives the driver the option of shifting gears manually or letting the computer do it.
You can drive the car if you're a sport driver, but even your wife or even your mom can drive that car as well.
While they work on the engine and transmission, a series of robotic carts moves around the assembly line. The carts act as a moving workbench for assembling the chassis.
For safety, every part have a black eye or scanner, and I can demonstrate it. So, and it stopped. Yes. So, and now I go back, and we can see it go the way.
Next, the car's suspension and brakes are installed. Key parts directly tied to Porsche's racing heritage.
We are 160 kilometers an hour now. And we got good brakes, even if it's wet, like we have no problem with the traction.
They continue adding more parts on the engine and chassis line, constantly focusing on time.
Every step needs 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
The Panamera is the first Porsche built with what's known as an engine stop and start system. At a stop sign or red light, the engine turns itself off to save fuel.
I'm standing on the brake, nothing goes forward, and now the engine is switched off without switching the ignition off.
But step on the accelerator and the engine instantly fires up.
If you want to go on, the car starts again, and it's very efficient.
Efficient enough to average nearly 30 kilometers on a litre of fuel in city driving, and more than 40 kilometers on the open road. But most people probably don't buy a Panamera for its fuel consumption. They buy it because of what happens when you put your foot down. Creating a four-door sports car required Porsche to come up with a completely new design.
It was a piece of white paper in this phase where we were looking for different ways of attacking this challenge. There were sketches, something like this, trying to combine the roofline of the coupe, still having the space for 4 persons in the car, trying to keep the spirit of what we are thinking about.
That spirit comes alive here, at the Volkswagen body plant in Hanover. This massive facility houses over 12,000 workers, primarily building VW vans and trucks. But less than 300 workers here are trained to work on the Panamera. The plant uses one of the largest metal presses in Europe. This giant machine, weighing 500,000 kilograms, is larger than a football pitch, and when running, it shakes the factory floor. "95% of the stamping operations here are mechanized.
On average, we produce 120 Porsche Panamera bodies per day.
Next stop is welding. These two men make picking up a side frame look easy, because it is. The frame is made of lightweight aluminium. The hard part is finding small imperfections that require fixing. This quality control check identifies any imperfections caused during the pressing process. The body is not easy to build. A typical car is built from one type of metal. For the Panamera, they use 6.
There are a lot of materials used in the Panamera. It's made of aluminium, galvanized sheet steel, and hot-formed steels, which can readily be seen in the side panel area. In the front end area, die-cast aluminium is used.
The mix and match of materials is intentional. The goal is to make the car as strong, but as light as possible. Multiple robots create the body. Some position parts. Others join pieces together. Some use super strong glue to bond parts. All the robots are controlled by computer screens. Laser scanners make certain everything fits, to a precision slimmer than a single human hair.
Hier befinden wir uns an der PZ-Anlage. In jeder Hauptbaugruppe gibt es eine Messanlage, die inline steht. Das ist diese Messanlage, die hier steht.
The robot glues the roof on. And human welders reinforce places the machine can't reach. The doors are next. Then another quality control station. They grind welds smooth. And hands check the work. The body is beginning to look like a finished car. It's time for paint. Each body is lifted to the next floor and positioned to enter the paint line. Before painting, each vehicle gets one more quality check in a light tunnel where the smallest defects are revealed. The car then enters this special car wash with a chemical solution to help the paint bond with the body. The Hanover factory has one of the most modern paint lines anywhere in the world. Robots can paint 24 standard colours and up to 130 custom colours, depending on what the buyer wants. The paint is dried in a heat tunnel, the automotive version of an industrial strength hairdryer. A final clear coat finish is then applied. Each new car is checked and polished by hand. Tiny adjustments are made to the fit and finish. At this point, every car body is pristine. Now the finished bodies travel into an automated warehouse. Here, they're coordinated for delivery to the factory in Leipzig, where they'll head into final assembly. The new Panamera bodies are stacked too high in railway transporter boxes. It's time to ship them to Leipzig, where each new car will be born.
We put a transponder in the body so we can see where the car is.
From a small room in Leipzig, the rail journey is closely monitored.
Control center, yeah. It's a heart from the factory.
This electronic nerve center shows everything that's happening, including when new bodies arrive from Hanover each afternoon.
Now we see our Panamera line. This is the first point. So here come the body from Hanover.
A special lift system brings cars into the factory. The original Porsche factory complex was very different from today. The pace was much slower, every engine built by hand. Installing the engine and transmission into the car was difficult. It took 3 men, one lying on his back underneath the car, approximately 30 minutes to do what they now do in 2 minutes and 20 seconds at the new Leipzig factory.
They had the chance to build something completely new. They started with a piece of white paper, had the chance to create something new. And they've used the most modern methods, and the aim was just to create the most efficient factory in the world.
Innovative ways of moving cars around the factory are key to Leipzig's efficiency.
We can turn the car for build under the body. In the other lines, it's a possibility to make the car up and down.
With the body up, it's easy to reach one critical part of the car.
My job is to install the fuel tank.
After the fuel tank, they start working on the car's interior. High-tech jigs remove the doors. But for other jobs, simple is better. Efficiency is crucial.
We need from the beginning to the end 15 hours.
Small parts are carried to each car and installed by hand. Larger parts use lifts and machines. So installing this sunroof is easy.
This yellow thing is our lift to build the dashboard or the instrument panel to build in the car.
Carts bring the dashboards to the line.
You can see the wires in the backs. We have 2 backs on every side. 3 kilometers for the wires is as long.
The wires are part of the Porsche design philosophy. The Panamera is built with individual buttons to control the car's individual functions. Buttons controlling heat, air conditioning, suspension settings, engine performance, and more. But the Sports Plus button might just be the best button of all.
Well, that's definitely the Sport Plus button. So we got a lot of acceleration, just makes fun.
This is our philosophy. We have one button for one action. So we have a lot of functions, and so we have a lot of buttons.
Parts of the interior go in next. There's only one robot in Leipzig, and it installs each Panamera's windscreen. A high-tech sound system comes standard on the turbo models. It gives you the choice of listening to the 550 horsepower engine or 585 watts of audio power from 9 speakers. And then the Panamera nameplate is placed on the door sills. Now the classic Porsche badge is installed.
The badge, as far as I know, it is one of the most used spare parts. Some people can't afford the car and just leave the car and take the badge. Even without the badge, it should be recognizable as a Porsche.
Part of Porsche's strategy for the Panamera was to sell luxury as well as performance.
You see the car passing by, you like it, you would like to have it. But then the exterior builds up a certain expectations on the interior.
That expectation begins with the seats. The Panamera not only has 4 seats, but perhaps the most luxurious seats Porsche has ever put in a car, with 9 different choices of leather.
My job is hitting the seats. You put the lift in the seats and this clubbing down, also so.
Interior trim options include different colors of brushed aluminium and wood.
We were very aware of the fact that we have to think about new materials, different materials, more options. For example, I like this very much, this special wood here with these pinstripes.
Sometimes I'm at the car seat, and today I learn to put the front end. We have 7 minutes time to build this.
At every step on the line, computer screens monitor what's happening.
Every step is explained on this screen. For example, hier Hauptscheinwerfer rechts montieren und kontaktieren. In the front, it's this Scheinwerfer, the headlight.
On this line, the car doors are built up and then reinstalled.
Here we are in the finish area. Yeah? We have built the car from the body, and now this is the finish line. We look at the paint. Yeah?
Most of the factory is about efficiency. Now, it's about perfection. Finished bodies and chassis move towards each other, and they finally meet in the middle of the factory.
Here come our engine with the transmission and the axis. You see a V6 engine, and for the Panamera, for the white one.
Mechanical lifts slide each chassis under its new body.
So the marriage also takes 2 minutes. This is our takt time, our sequence time.
The 2 major parts line up perfectly, every time.
We have 2 stations. We have this one station, put it together, and on the next station we return the screws.
21 screws or bolts. That's all that's needed to hold the car together, even when it's doing this. Each new Panamera is almost finished. An overhead U-turn moves the cars onto the last line, an extremely efficient final assembly line.
the spirit that we have in the company, that is always looking for different solutions to make things different, but not for the sake of being different, but for the sake of being better.
At Leipzig, being better means a streamlined system where bumpers come off trucks and go right to the line. Tail lights go on. Inside, they install the navigation system, the gear stick, and steering wheel. The car gets a full service and finally receives its wheels and tires. Wheels are taken from a delivery truck that's just arrived directly to the line.
Every 12 cars we need a lorry with tires. Yeah?
As with everything at this mega factory, the focus is on doing this efficiently and swiftly.
2.2 minutes.
Each car moves across the factory floor for quality control checks. The goal is precision. In how a tail light fits. Or how the boot closes automatically with the touch of a button. The engine is fired up for the very first time. A computer checks its performance. But the final judgment happens outside the factory, on the test track.
What we do is we drive the car, we have a subject or like a personal check of the car by a human. It's not like only technical data, it's also like the feeling of the car, like we call it the popometer, the feeling the car produces inside your body, like the feedback that is given by the car.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. From the track to a final wash. It wouldn't do for a new car to leave Leipzig dirty.
Perfekt ist nicht gut genug, ja.
Perfect isn't good enough at Porsche's newest mega factory.